the pain! I can't even remember the last time Needleful uploaded. I don't know what he's been doing because I never subscribed to his VOD channel. No one did.
At the Ends of Eras, demo version 3 was released, so go play it. Yeah, there's not really like a theme to this devlog. I've been averaging 15 to 20 hours a week on the game on top of a full-time job, so making funny videos on top of that has taken a back seat. I'll give you the long and short of the work since August. The big new addition is an arena with a quest around it. You're thrown into a big hole and fight waves of enemies until time runs out or you die. I stole the combo system right out of Pizza Tower, which makes for an enjoyably frantic experience trying to chase down enemies without taking damage. There's 4 different scenarios to unlock with different enemies and layouts. There was a water level, but it was cut because everyone would instantly drown themselves. That'll be for V3.1. If you play it, let me know how the difficulty feels. I can't tell if I'm extremely good at the game and made it too hard, or if I was so exhausted from playing it over and over for 4 hours straight that I made it too easy. Maybe those two curves balanced out perfectly, who knows. I do know the Death Gnats are complete bastards and the player's natural predator, so, have fun. The other big addition was a small addition. Those dialogue mechanics I mentioned last devlog have little notifications now. The game will tell you if you can use an item or note to advance quests, unlock optional dialogue, or revisit dialogue you've already seen, but it won't tell you the exact item to pick. You still have to use your brain a little bit, but this makes it much more obvious how this mechanic is used. It also makes it easy to see when characters don't have any special dialogue, so you don't waste your time. This mechanic is especially useful for the arena quest, which, despite being pretty straightforward on the outside, is a sprawling network of possible branches. Realistically, the player will only see about 10% of the dialogue written for this quest. My goal was to make every path feel like something the players stumbled into with their own wit. This means instead of making one really obvious path, I split the quest into different problems the player can solve in different ways, and just assume they'll figure out one of them eventually. The special dialogue wound up not only being the main way the quest is advanced, but a good place to put hints. The player can ask characters about specific parts of the quest and get their opinion on it, which generally points in the right direction. This was really useful to figure out how I want quests to be laid out in the future. I like how the player can act like a detective, asking around and putting together clues to unravel mysteries, and I think that's a good starting point for more quests. But, like the arena, I'll need to hear from other people before I declare it a success. The dialogue system supports an exponential number of options, so I have to pick and choose only the ones I think are the most obvious, which might not be the obvious ones for others. And if push comes to shove, I can add an option to tell you exactly which items to pick, or make a mechanic somehow, like maybe you get insight points and can spend them to make the game tell you what to do. I've been sticking to strict deadlines for these releases, and there was a lot of stuff I wanted to do in this version that didn't make the cut. Be sure to look out for V3.1, probably coming sometime in December, because I'm planning to go through everything I cut to either finish it or kick it down the road to V4 and beyond. There's so much work I want to do that I wound up creating 2 custom to-do list apps to manage all of it. One is a regular to-do list with some fancy filtering tools, and the other is a simple flowchart for my quests. I made that one almost entirely on stream if you want a tutorial on Godot's hopelessly confusing graph editor. They work pretty nicely, and in the future I think I'll release a version of them for sale, but probably rewritten in a proper UI library. Godot is nice to work with, but it has no screen reader compatibility and it's sluggish for more complex interfaces, so I wouldn't be comfortable selling a UI tool made with it. Looking to the future, version 4, which I'm targeting for Valentine's Day, will probably not change the demo much. There might be a rework of the player's animations to make them look good, but I'm going to focus on fleshing out the main story, which lies mostly outside your designated play space. The game technically has a complete story like I talked about in Devlog 2, but it doesn't feel like a full experience and it doesn't properly explore the ideas I want explored. If I suddenly decided I want to quit game dev forever and live in a log cabin, I want the game to be in a state where I can just cut the unfinished stuff and release something that feels like a full game. I'm already halfway to 3 years on this game, and I still feel like it's just getting started. I'd like the game to be done by 2025 because, quite frankly, it's not worth 5 or more years of my life, so I really need to hone in on creating the core experience. Then after that I can decide how much more I want to make. And having a game that's essentially done but could be expanded and polished would probably be a good time to start pitching it to publishers. Tim, my offer still stands, Tim. 1,000 years Epic Store exclusive. I promise not to embezzle the development funds and move to the French countryside, Tim. Je ne parle même pas français, Tim. Vous n'avez rien à craindre. Well, another day, another dollar, and another devlog. Thanks for watching. You can keep up with development mostly by just watching me on Twitch. Everything else is kind of like a secondary thing to that, because I just do the development on Twitch, and then I don't feel the need to like share development elsewhere, which I probably should, but keep on gaming, boys and berries, girls and ganders. See ya.